So Arkansas in the year is 5-4 and 3-3 in the conference. We'll talk about that previous meeting real quick. Texas got their doors blown off in 2021, 40-21. I believe that was my first year on the channel, like full time. Yeah, that was not a good football game. Arkansas rushed for like 300 yards in that game, and there was like three or four guys that had over 70 yards rushing. Including Malik Hornsby, who was their backup quarterback, who they put in. I think he had like 50 to 70 yards rushing in that game, and Texas recruited him. It was the nail in the coffin. They ran it down our throats. That was the first time Steve Sarkisian, I think, realized that he's got his work cut out for him. But I think this game is going to be completely different. But you got to bring that game up because that was the last time we played them. They're actually 4-2 versus us in the last 6 games. But let's get to these stats for Texas and Arkansas. So for Texas, 38.9 points per game, 6th in the country. 65 yards per game, 7th in the country. 6.5 yards per play, that is 16th in the country. Third down offense, 45.61% of the times they convert on third down. That is 18th. Rush yards per attempt, 4.7, 39th in the country. Yards per pass, 8.7. That is 12th in the country. Now let's talk about sack percentage, 5.47%. That is 55th in the country. The offensive line has taken a beating there since the Georgia game. Texas defense, 12.1 points per game, 4th in the country. 3.8 yards per play, 1st in the country. 3.4 yards per rush, 16th in the country. And 4.6 yards per pass, that is 1st in the country. They are still phenomenal at stopping the run and the pass, honestly, but especially the pass. Now, Arkansas, 28.4 points per game, 51st in the country. 6.2 yards per play, 28th in the country. 4.7 yards per rush, 41st in the country, and 8.6 yards per pass, 15th in the country. They love to run the football and then hit you deep with play action. They have some good wide receivers and especially a really good side end. We'll talk about him as well in a second. Now let's get to their defense. 29.6 points per game, 86th in the country. 6 yards per play, 93rd in the country. 3.9 yards per rush, 38th in the country. 8.6 yards per pass allowed, 118th in the country. Sack percentage, getting after the quarterback, 5.36%, 81st in the country. Overall, pretty bad defensively. They're good at stopping the run. They're basically terrible at everything else. Now let's jump into specific players. Taylor Green. And let me tell you this. He has a good game, they can beat Texas. If he has a bad game, we're going to walk the dog. And that's what I'm going to call Arkansas, the dog. Because we should dog walk them, guys. We really should. We're a better football team, but this is a rivalry game. They hate us more than they like themselves. I think Steve Sarkisian said that at SEC Media Days. He basically said the same thing today. And Arkansas fans and players have basically said, yeah, that's true. I even think Sam Pittman at SEC Media Days said that. Taylor Green, 61.2% completion, only 11 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, but 8.4 yards per attempt. Again, he loves to air it out. 411 yards rushing, 3.9 yards per carry, and 5 touchdowns. And then we know this guy, great running back. I wish he would have transitioned to running back at Texas and played for Texas because that's how damn good of a football player he has. Jaquindon Jackson, 109 attempts, 592 yards, 5.7 yards per carry, 10 touchdowns. And then Braylon Russell, a bona fide, really good player as a freshman, 47 carries, 304 yards, 6.5 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. He's the more explosive running back between the two. He's going to be a really good player for them if he sticks around. Andrew Armstrong, really good wide receiver. He's going to be on the SEC first, second, or third team coming out of this year. 55 receptions, 857 yards, 15.6 yards per catch, and 1 touchdown for Andrew Armstrong. And then Isaiah Satania, 29 receptions, 407 yards, 14 yards per catch, and 1 touchdown. And then Luke Haas, the tight end, I thought he was one of the most underrated players coming into the season, especially at the tight end position. I think he's just as good as Gunnar Helm, and I think Gunnar Helm's probably a second-round pick in the NFL draft. This guy is not eligible. He's only a sophomore. He was a freshman last year. He got hurt. He would have been the SEC Freshman of the Year if he didn't get hurt. 19 receptions, 267 yards, 14.1 yards per catch, and 4 touchdowns. He's definitely the safety valve here and the red zone threat that they have on the offensive side of the ball. Defense, linebacker Xavier Sori, Junior, 73 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 1 interception. He is number 1 on the team in tackles. He is number 2 on the team in tackles for loss. Landon Jackson, his brother, Lance, committed to the University of Texas. I wish we had Landon Jackson. He's a hell of a player. 6.5 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, both leading the team. Eric Gregory, 5 tackles for loss, 3rd on the team, and 3 sacks, 2nd on the team. This team, guys, to me, Their weaknesses are their secondary and their linebackers. Gunnar Helm, can you exploit the middle of the field with him in this game? With either Gunnar Helm, Juan Davis, Amari Niblack, Jade. Can you get Jaden Blue isolated with Trey Wisner also in the passing game versus these linebackers? If you can do that, you can exploit this team in the passing game. It's going to be interesting what they decide to do versus Tennessee. They kind of, said, hey, we're going to keep everything in front of us, death by 1,000 cuts. I actually think that plays in the favor of Texas because Quinn Ewers loves to take the check down. He would rather take the check down than throw it deep. So if I'm Arkansas, I would actually play more man, blitz a lot more, and make us throw deep. I think that's their best option. Do I think they do that? No. For whatever reason, a lot of people think Iowa State's the way to beat Texas. It used to be, and then Steve Sarkisian figured it out, and they're just going to check down to death and take that profit and take those yards that you're giving them. So I think Arkansas would be stupid if they did that, but hey, I'll take it if they decide to do that. And then for the love of God, can we run the ball better? Can we control the line of scrimmage? They do stop the run pretty well. They do. But at some point, guys, you got to grow a sack and be able to push people around offensively. And we just have not been able to do that. The last time we were able to do that was versus Michigan. And Michigan still has a really good front four, contrary to popular belief. I don't know why people don't think that. They still do. We're able to do it versus them. Why aren't we able to do it versus anyone else? I do not understand. We have to be able to run the ball at least a little bit in this game to keep us off balance. Like I said, if Arkansas is smart, they play man-to-man, they blitz a lot more, and they make us hit them deep because, guys, we will screen them, swing pass them, we'll end around them to death if they want us to. We will do that to death if they want us and allow us to do that. And then can we play clean? We have yet to do that this year. We had more penalties versus Florida than they had versus us, even though we dominated the football game. I don't know how that's possible, but it is. We did. We find a way, always week to week, we find a way to commit stupid, boneheaded penalties. So please, versus Arkansas, can we play a close and complete game? Now, I think what Arkansas is going to do in this game offensively is a lot of running and play action. I think they're going to want to establish to Quentin Jackson and Braylon Russell and Taylor Green. I think Taylor Green's going to run a lot in this game. I think you're going to see Taylor Green run a lot in this game, a lot like Jalen Miller ran a lot in the LSU game. I think they're going to utilize him that way coming off a bye week, playing your biggest rival at home. I think they're going to do that. This is the biggest win Sam Pittman can have left on this schedule. He's going to unload the clip here because it's potentially for his job. And Travis Williams may be looking in the future as a head coach, their defensive coordinator, so he's going to unload the clip as well. We have to come ready to play. I'm glad this is a noon kick. I'm glad this is not a night game like last time. This team can beat you. If Texas plays a game like they did versus Mississippi State and Arkansas plays their absolute best game, Arkansas will win this football game by about a touchdown. If Texas plays a B game, which I would say the Florida game was a B game, if we replicate that performance from last week and they play their A game, it's a coin flip to me. Now, if they don't play their A game and we play like we did last week, we'll win the football game. But basically, just don't crap down your leg. That's what I'm asking for in this game. I'm done kind of holding this team to a standard that it's not holding itself to. I'm just going to be straight honest. They don't, because if they did, they would have had some of these things fixed by now. And this team right now, and I just don't think they are. I don't think they're going to win a national championship. I think they'll get in the playoff, and I think they'll probably win a game or two, but I think that's the ceiling for this team. They don't execute it and do the small things at a high enough level. Do they do enough to beat this Arkansas team? Yes, they do, and that is what I'm predicting. I'm taking Texas here 34-20. That's not – I believe it's either covering the spread or basically on the spread, so I wouldn't even take it. If it's 14.5, I still wouldn't take it. So Texas, I'm going to take the win 34-20, but I think it's a ball game. I think this goes into the late third quarter, early fourth quarter, and then Texas pulls away in the end. But I think Arkansas, with the fans behind them, with the team they have offensively, and what they're going to do coming off a bye week, I do think this game's going to be closer than it should be.